If Spooky Buddies was just a title with no movie, it would still be one of my favorite Buddies movies. Especially with this font. Oh, I love this spooky oozing font. I think Spooky Buddies stands out from the rest of the series because it really commits to its genre. That genre being shitty 2000s children's Halloween films. It's chock full of glossy CGI, campy villainy, and dark, creaky mansions. I don't know, something about these 2000s Halloween vibes are just so special, and it's probably my own nostalgia. In fact, it definitely is, but I love it so much. This was made in 2011 though, so I mean a little late to the game, but it's still fine. Spooky Buddies begins in Fernfield circa 1937, and we get some crazy lore, my favorite. Essentially, there's this warlock named Warwick who wants to summon the Halloween Hound to take over the world. That seems to be the stakes for a lot of these films. The Halloween Hound, to be able to rise to his full power, needs to, get this, consume the souls of 5 puppies of the same blood. How awesome is that? So he tries to do this, but it takes too long, and one puppy is left in purgatory with his soul stuck in the mansion that this whole thing took place in. This is terrifying.
Nothing I despise more than petulant young children.
I feel like as a child I would be slightly traumatized by the idea that one soul is being ripped from their body as they turn entirely into stone. It's quite haunting imagery. To be honest with you though, this lore that I just gave you does not really affect the film at all. The rest of the film pretty much just follows the buddies going to this haunted house and meeting Pip, the puppy ghost, and running away from the Halloween Hound after he's returned. Pip serves as the buddies' dog friend in these movies, and to be honest, he's a pretty good one. But when he's in his ghost form, he just haunts me. I know I'm dogging on the CGI in these films quite a bit, and I understand they are incredibly low budget and are over 10 years old at this point, but geez, this thing looks rough. However, Spooky Buddies gets a pass for most of it because the tone is already so campy and dated that I'm able to excuse a lot of it, but the way Pip looks is just so glossy and uncanny, it just sort of makes me uncomfy. He also has a baby voice, and he's voiced by none other than Frankie Jonas.
Wait, why are you afraid? It's just me, Pip.
Pip is a pretty solid dog friend, just due to his very tragic backstory and the fact that he just wants to be reunited with his 4 brothers. I don't think he adds much to the plot, but hey, he's a nice addition. The best part of Spooky Buddies, though, is the Halloween Hound, and yes, I'm pronouncing that with the howl emphasized. He is by far the scariest and most intimidating villain in any of these movies. Just listen to his voice.
This time there's nowhere to run. Hello, puppies. Just thought I would visit the kitchen for a late night snack.
I can help you come from the dark back into the light.
I actually like the darkness. Now get out of my way.
Every time he spoke, I just burst out laughing because this voice actor is putting everything into this voice to make the Halloween Hound a Halloween icon.
Pip!
And I still think it's possible. Who cares about Santa Paws? Let's make a movie about the Halloween Hound.
I'm fading.
Anywho, Spooky Buddies gets bonus points for having not only the Monster Mash in their film, but a really corny knockoff of the Monster Mash too.
Come on, Dad!
Not many movies have the balls to do something like that, and I respect it. I do find it interesting that the version of the Monster Mash they use is not the original Bobby Boris Pickett version, but a version by a band that seems to also do the knockoff, which is an interesting choice and kind of bizarre, but hey, at least it's here. Anyway, there's this guy who's been possessed by Warwick who's dressed up as a surfer Frankenstein, which yes, is as unfunny as it sounds, and he crashes the spooky brouhaha that's in Fernfield's yellow building. Can I really quickly just talk about this yellow building that's in every single Buddies film? Usually it's like the community center, and sometimes it's a police station, and even once it was a museum. Where is this big yellow building, and why is it so pivotal to every single Buddies film?
Heavens to Betsy! Somebody had a bit too much spooky punch.
Woo! And I live on that spooky punch. Don't catch me off the spooky. I am nothing if I'm not on that spooky punch. It's just water. Sheriff Dan is a pretty big part in this one too. Not nearly as big of a part as he is in Super Buddies, but this one does follow the trend of him turning into an animal, and he turns into a monkey.
Dan! That is Sheriff Dan. What?
Run, kids! He's coming!
I've already done this rant once before, but how can they understand him? Does he speak human still? How does Robert keep forgetting his own rules? He does remember one thing, and that is to make B-Dog racist.
Yo, were you hallucinatripping? He's got that Halloween Hound to do his dirty work now. Man, he calls you names like moronic bird brain.
That does sound like something he'd say.
I don't know that I have ever heard a piece of fake slang worse than hallucinatrippin', but I need that on a shirt now. Thank you, Robert Vince. I love you. I think the climax of Spooky Buddies is probably the weirdest across all of the films. It's definitely the most bonkers. Essentially, the Halloween Hound has been chasing the buddies through the mansion, and they're finally cornered. Everyone who's on their side has been turned into stone. The buddies have no escape, but B-Dog has an idea. I am worried about showing you this clip because it's just so vile. So be warned.
Yo, Butterball, when I tell you, let one rip.
Do it, dog!
No, this can't be happening.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's just unpack this first. How are Butterball's farts progressively more and more green? Secondly, how did his fart turn the Halloween Hound into stone? What has he been eating? Oh my god. I can't believe this movie is real. So yeah, the buddies give their obligatory dog friend goodbye.
It's so great to have a new leash on life. I'll miss you, buddies.
Yo, dog, we'll catch you on the flip side.
I think what my brother's saying is, we'll never forget you.
Hang loose, dude.
Now that you can eat again, do me a favor. You need to check out the chili cheese dogs at every town you visit and tell us which one's the best.
Have a great time, Pip.
Goodbye, buddies.
And that's Spooky Buddies. This one wraps up surprisingly nice, actually, despite there being so much incomprehensible nonsense. It definitely encapsulates an era of children's Halloween films, which I certainly appreciate. Maybe not as well as some others do, but hey, it's worth a mention. The biggest problem with Spooky Buddies is that there really just isn't a story. It's mostly the buddies running from their death, which is awesome, don't get me wrong, but it really falls flat due to the whole we have literally $0 to make this movie thing. I kind of liked this one though. It's garbage, don't get me wrong, but kind of sweet in a weird way. Either that or I've had too much Spooky Punch.
Ohio